So once you have chosen the dress code items that the MDRT will wear, you can choose see your results and it'll tell you if you're correct or not. In Med 101, the decontamination course, the student is given the same activity, but yet they are to choose the proper PPE that the MDRT will need to wear. So for example, for that activity, it would be the gown, the gloves and goggles, the booties, or the mask and goggles, the booties, and then the gloves. So in the first course, we have the WebQuest assignment, and that is 5% to the final grade of Med 100 assignment. So the student is given 3 questions in regards to provincial job descriptions. They're asked to research 3 separate provincial job descriptions or postings. I encourage them to get separate provinces, and they are asked the 3 questions, and they have to formulate their answers into a 1-page APA style paper. We have given them tools on how to write in APA style. So for example, we have a link to our library guide or library page, and there's resources here, for example, how to prepare an APA research paper, APA style, and then electronic referencing. So one thing that the students will also take in the theory portion is communication. Communication not only in, say, the medical device or processing department, but communication in whole. So they will have to understand how to communicate properly, different communication styles and techniques. So this activity, we put it in a true and false activity. So the student is given a statement and they have to choose whether it is true or false. So for example, here the first one is communication occurs even when language is not used. So say the student chose false, they can check their answer, and the rationale is given as to why it is true. So the course goes into the different roles and responsibilities of the medical device processing technician. So we created an activity for the student to differentiate between usual or unusual occurrences. So, for example, they're given, terms or activities, and then they have to choose whether it is usual or unusual. So eating in the MDR would be unusual, and the box will accept it if it is correct. So let's do one that is incorrect. So attending education in services, they click that, and I would try to go in unusual, but it won't accept it. So I'll click it and it'll accept it in the usual. So one way we have incorporated into delivering theory is through videos. So for example, we have workplace professionalism. We included 2 separate videos, each about 20 to 30 minutes in length, and the students are to watch the videos. And then they are asked just one quick little multiple choice question in regards to the videos that they just watched. So in the respect of professionalism and communication, we have telephone etiquette in the workplace. So we really want to encourage the students on proper telephone etiquette, as they will be working with various other departments while as a medical device or processing technician. So our telephone etiquette activity here, we have doors that they click into, and it brings them to the activity where it is regards to telephone etiquette. So we ask the students to list 5 or more ways to show proper telephone etiquette in the workplace. So they would put their answers in, and then they check what the instructor's answers are, and then they can compare the 2. Students also learn about confidentiality in the workplace, And we created an activity where we give them an infographic on breaches of confidentiality, and then the student has to describe what the breach is. So for example, here we have a healthcare worker taking a picture with the cell phone. So the student would type in their response here, and then the instructor's response is in the answer. So we give them the rationale. Also, the students will encounter multi-generational workplaces once out into the workforce. So we have included some images here for the students to also help learn the content of a multi-generational workplace. And we give them the different age groups. So, for example, the baby boomer, we explain to them like the traditional work values, materialistic, willing to work long hours, and they are the largest cohort of workers in Canada. So while in the multi-generational and diversity learning outcome of the program, it brings us to our second assignment, so the discussion forum assignment. So this is the one where it helps increase the students working together and collaborating together and communicating with each other. So we give the students some questions. They put an initial post up onto the discussion forum, and then they are asked to respond to 2 other students' posts. The students also learn about the key organizations that they will encounter while being a medical device or processing technician. So, for example, CSA, PDAC, Health Canada, ORNAC, ISO, and AAMI. So they're given the instructions on those organizations, and then we give them a statement and they choose which organization they would be from, and then they check their answers, and they can reset it as many times and do it as many times as they would like. When developing the online theory course, I interacted with other people within SAS Polytech, other groups, and one of them was Learning Services, and they informed me how students have expressed that they enjoy watching PowerPoints, that's what they would like to see more in online programs. So we included some of our theory in a PowerPoint presentation. So for this one, is an example of medical terminology. Created a PowerPoint presentation and got an embed code and inserted it into the course. So after taking the medical terminology theory, we get the students to do a medical terminology activity. So this one, I believe, it's a drag and drop activity. So the student is given the definition, and then they drag and drop the term into where it should go. And then like the other ones, they check their answers, and they can reset it and do it as many times as they choose. Students are also introduced to basic anatomy. We don't go into physiology, just keep it to anatomy. So an example here would be the skeletal system. So this is an excerpt from a page of the type of bones. Some of the activities that we get the students to do for anatomy would be like a drag and drop activity. They take the theory on the body system, and then they're shown a diagram, and then their activity is to label that diagram. So they just drag and drop it into where they believe it should go, and then they will check their answers. It's not shown up here, but they will have a spot to check their answers. So microbiology is another topic that the students are taught in the course. So here is an example. They've taken the theory on chain of transmission. It's kind of another drag or click and drop, where they click where the category where all the terms are to go. for modes of transmission, we inserted pictures with the theory for the students just to better understand the different modes of transmission. So for example, through food, we put a chef, something that they can relate to more. For different hazards and potential hazards that the students may encounter in the medical device or processing department as MDRT, they take the theory on that, and then we have an activity for them. It's a drop-down forced choice where they are given a description and they have to choose whether or not, or what type of potential hazard it is. So, for example, electrical cords on the floor. It would be an electrical hazard. They check their answers. And again, they can do it as many times as they choose. They can reset it. The second course in the Medical Device or Processing Technician program is the decontamination area. So in the very beginning, the very first learning outcome, the decontamination area is defined, and again we have the learning outcomes and then the learning steps broken down for the students. So the same image in the beginning of each learning outcome. For the decontamination area, we have created quite a few videos and inserted them for the student to watch, just to help. They get the theory, watch the video. It just kind of helps them understand better the content that they are learning. So the students are provided with the closed caption option, and also there is a script that they can follow that if they want to. So for example, here is the workflow. So this MDRT is receiving a dirty case cart from the operating room in the decontamination area. So they can watch the video. The students also get videos on the different equipment that they will see in the medical device or processing department. So for example is our cart washers. So the videos are all laid out in the same way, where they have the script option and their closed caption option as well. So the other equipment that they will see videos on is the washer disinfectors, and I believe it's the ultrasonic washer. Same layout, the closed captioning and the script. It's the ultrasonic cleaner video as well. Students will learn the different medical equipment that they will encounter in the medical device or processing department. So we teach them the minimally invasive surgery, so the MIS. So the students will have, again, here's another way of putting a lot of information into one page to stop the student from having to scroll through a long page. So the student will click down and the option will drop down for them, and they can see the picture, view the picture, and read about it. We also have the same for arthroscopy instruments as well. So they drop down and have the information displayed for them. And we have a video from a SAS Polytech video just on disassembling and assembling the arthroscopic lens.